Hey, you. Yeah, you. Welcome to the Malaka podcast. AVGN. He's gonna take you back to the past to play the shitty games that suck ass. He'd rather have a buffalo take a diarrhea dump in his ear. He'd rather eat the rotten asshole of a roadkill skunk and down it with beer. He's the angriest gamer you've ever heard. He's the angry Nintendo nerd. He's the angry Atari Sega nerd. He's the angry video game nerd ass. The angry video game nerd, abbreviated as AVGN, as I said before, is an American web television series of comedy-themed retro gaming reviews created by and starring James Rolfe. The show revolves around reviews that involve acerbic rants about low-quality video games. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I can relate to James because there was once a time where I was younger, and yes, believe it or not, I was a Nintendo kid. But just a video game kid in general. Actually, no, not really. I just like Nintendo. I was never really into Sega Genesis. I mean, a little PlayStation here and there, but I don't know. I mean, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, that was my shit. 64 I wasn't really feeling. I don't think the graphics were there. Anyways, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. But a lot of these old school Nintendo games that he reviews, I can relate to because there were times where you basically just go to the video store and you just take a chance. You literally roll the dice on a video game. You look at the box and you think, okay, you know what? This could be good. Is it worth my $5 to rent this, or even more if I want to return it late? For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, basically back in the day we had these things called video stores, such as Blockbuster. Look it up. I think there's one left in Alaska. But anyways, you go there and you just take a chance. You go and rent a video game because nobody felt like spending anywhere between 50 to who knows, like $75 even, and for a game that we had no idea if it was good or not. It's not like now we could just go online and see if the thing's got good reviews, or you can just test it out somewhere. You just took a chance. So, and that's basically the whole point of James's website, which is called cinemassacre.com. And basically he just reviews old video games. Most of them tend to be more like Nintendo, or even older stuff like Atari or maybe Super Nintendo, but I mean the Nintendo shit is what really caught my interest the most because, again, I was a Nintendo kid. All I wanted growing up was a Nintendo. That was my main thing. And my parents would always rent me a Nintendo like almost every week on 4-month basis. And, again, this is like, European logic at its finest, where, we just beat around the bush a lot of times instead of just going right to the point. I was like, guys, just buy me the system, please. I promise I'll try to do my homework and learn what division means, and I'll do my best. In the end it's just cheaper. So, and that was the frustration of my younger childhood, was just trying to pass a lot of these fucking games. And that's the greatest thing about the Angry Video Game Nerd, is that it's just very reminiscent on my generation and what it was like playing video games. So it's really cool to see that. I mean, I was introduced this by a friend. He told me about this dude, and I go on this website, and I was like, holy shit, like this is fucking hilarious, just the way he lays it all out. So I thought it was pretty cool, and I instantly got hooked on his videos, and yeah, I was like, okay, I could absolutely relate to this dude. So then I started watching all of his videos, like I said before, and the very first video he did was a classic, or I guess in his eyes, not a classic video game on Nintendo called Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. Now, what's actually funny about this game is when I first played this game, it was at one of my cousin's houses, and I thought all the Simon Quest or Castlevania games were like this. This was like the second one out of the three they released on Nintendo, and I thought they were all kind of like laid out like this. And I don't know, the game I thought was pretty frustrating. I mean, like it was a cool game, but at the same time, it was like, yeah, it really fucking pissed you off. I mean, like when he made this video, he said he just made this, on a VHS tape, and he just passed it around to friends, and eventually just caught on, and it kind of just snowballed into this whole persona that he created, the angry video game nerd. And yeah, I could absolutely relate because this game is fucking frustrating, man. I mean, like, there's a point of this. I mean, like he talks about, like there's a point of this game where you literally just play it, and then at one point the game just stops, and the screen pops up, and it says, "What a horrible night for a curse." And then it pauses for a little bit more, and then it goes to a night setting, and then the game starts up again. And he makes a good point. It's like the game is literally just pausing itself, and it's fucking bullshit. It really is. I don't blame him for swearing and drinking. By the way, I love that he drinks Rolling Rock. I mean, because that's almost like everyone's like first kind of beer. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's not a overall great beer. It's not a shitty beer either, but it's just one of those like, hey, we're in college now. Let's just drink some Rolling Rock. It comes in a cool green bottle, whatever. So yeah, I mean, it was just a shitty game, man. But then like the other Castlevanias, like the 1 and 3 were awesome, especially 3. That was a really good one. So, and he, like I said, he built a rep for himself, with these videos, and yeah, he did a lot more. I mean, obviously I can't go through all these, but I'm gonna try because for the 20 people that listen to this podcast, I'm here to satisfy you. So again, thank you for your support. I really do. I expect a check from YouTube for 0.0001 cents coming in 2021. So thank you so much for the support. I really do appreciate it. But anyways, yeah, so he came up with another video for Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Again, another shitty Nintendo game. Just showed off like how pissed off he would, get. Like he would just swear and just go nuts. And like he's got the whole nerd uniform. Like I'm pretty sure he copied this uniform from all the nerds from like Saved by the Bell or something. Like he's even got like the pocket protector and all that shit. So that's pretty funny. And yeah, like I said, another shitty game. Good luck trying to play this. If you pay more than $1 for this game, then yeah, you absolutely did get ripped off for sure. And yeah, I mean, the Karate Kid, that was it's funny, like when he did all these videos, like I never realized like how many shitty games Nintendo came out with. I mean, I love Nintendo, like to the day I die, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I mean, it was one of those systems where, it was one of the first systems, and you just never know what the fuck you're gonna get. You see a cover like the Karate Kid, and you're like, oh, it was a kick-ass movie, it's gonna be a kick-ass video game. No, it was a fucking piece of shit video game. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, same thing, He even made a point in the video game. There's a point where you have to call like a 1-800 number and you get a hint. He called it 20 years later, and now it's like a sex hotline or something. That's funny. I do have to disagree with him with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, this game is hard. The very first one for Nintendo. I'm not gonna lie to you. It is like a unique game, I guess. Like it's not like the other games where it's just like later on, 2 and 3, and even the one for Super Nintendo, Turtles in Time. They were just beat 'em ups, but I don't know. I think he was a little bit harsh on this one. I think this was a good game. I mean, keep in mind I am a Turtle fan, so I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit more nostalgic towards that, but I did like it. So I'm not saying he's wrong sometimes, but I think we can all agree that Shaq Fu is a shitty game. I think we all can agree on that. I love the fact that he did a review on Nintendo Power because I was a Nintendo Power kid as well. I loved getting those magazines. I loved just like looking through them and getting little hints. For those of you who don't know what Nintendo Power was, it was a Nintendo based magazine, and it would give you strategies on certain games and maps and codes and cool articles, and sometimes it would like literally send you like games with the magazine if you were lucky. Like it's so funny. Like I mean, they literally gave me a copy one time of like 4 Zelda games, and now I don't know. Like I go on whatever like online and they're selling the exact same game up to like $100. I mean, they gave it away free, and now it's considered vintage. I don't know, whatever. So but yeah, it was a really cool magazine. And for those of you who are that young listening to this and don't know what a magazine is something that came before a tablet, and you were able to read, and it was made of paper. So I mean, that was cool. But anyways, yeah, I mean, he just kept doing video after video. One of my favorite videos he ever did was I like the Ghostbuster one he did. He did like a whole 3-parter on that one. I never realized how shitty the Nintendo version was of the game Ghostbusters. Because I was just so used to like the shitty one on Atari. It was almost like the exact same thing. So like, I mean, obviously Atari, you're gonna expect shitty quality, but like on Nintendo, you think it'd be a little bit better, but I don't know. I think it was just, oh man, yeah, he pretty much went off on that one. But he's very entertaining the way he does these videos. I mean, like he really plays up the character really well. Very obsessive, with these games, and the whole point of like being a video game nerd is just basically, these games are shitty, but you just keep playing them. Because you just have to pass them, And like I said back in the day, like you rented it, right, for a day or two, and he would say, yeah, and then my whole weekend is ruined. It'd be like the same thing with me. I mean, like you pick a game, it's like, well, you can't return it, and there's no point because you already rented it, so you might as well just play it and make the best of it, So, but one of my also favorite videos that he did, it's technically an Angry Video Game Nerd video, but he reviewed a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. Now, I love this just because the way he just tears it up. Because, he talks a little bit about the first one. Now, anybody that knows me, the first Ninja Turtle movie is a classic. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Whenever you can hear a turtle say damn and dress like Humphrey Bogart and, beat the shit out of, or try to beat the shit out of Casey Jones, who's a former hockey player who now fights with grown Ninja Turtles. I mean, need I say more? Exactly. Part 2 wasn't as good as the first one, still good. But part 3, I mean, that was a piece of shit. So he really goes into that. He makes a mention how like the bad guy at the end there, it is weird. Like I didn't even thought of this. Like he kind of just like dives into the water, and it kind of just like disappears. Like he could, and he makes a good point where they just could have made an edit, and they could have just made a fake splash move, and that's it. Like you didn't have to do anything else. So my point is that it was a piece of shit movie, and I'm extremely glad that he did a full video about it, showing its shittiness. Because it needed to be said. 2 things in my eyes always killed the Ninja Turtle franchise, which is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 and Power Rangers. which he actually did do a funny video on Power Ranger video games. But yeah, I mean, I'm just very glad he did that. And also, one of my favorite videos he ever did was a whole thing on Batman games, like everything from the original Nintendo one, the Super Nintendo, and it's really cool too because like when he does these videos, like he'll do little skits in the middle there. Like he's got a buddy there named Mike Matty, and yeah, he played the Joker, and I thought he did an excellent job as the Joker. So and then like he'll set up a skit where like he's dressed up as Batman, and then like the Joker will pop in and make him play all these like shitty Batman games, and it's just done really well. I mean, like it's cheesy, but at the same time, it's very entertaining. I mean, you can see like how much he really appreciates all these games, and just entertaining his fans. So I think that's pretty cool. Also, another really funny one he did where he's just always reviewing, I don't know, like every so often, like Bugs Bunny games. And I'm pretty sure it's Michael Matty again being like in the costume, whatever, there. And, he's just, like, playing a real asshole version of Bugs Bunny. And he's just bugging him to play video games. And, it's just really fun to watch. And and another thing he always does is the guy who sings the theme song of the Angry Video Game Nerd, as I did in a lovely way in the beginning of this podcast. He always includes him in some stuff as well. And the whole joke is like the dude's living behind his futon, and he'll like pop in, through some episodes. There's a good one he popped in. The Battletoads episode where like you have to play two players at the same time, and it's a pain in the ass, and it's cool. Like he seems like he's really loyal to all his friends, and he includes a lot of his people that I'm just assuming he grew up with a lot of these people, and includes them in the videos, and it shows like it works well. I mean, the chemistry's really cool, and it makes it that much more funnier. I always said when you work with your friends and people that you really trust, and it makes the work that much better. Now, eventually these videos got so popular that he eventually did an Angry Video Game Nerd movie. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. If you're expecting this big ass budget, you're not going to get it. But at the same time, I was actually pretty impressed with this movie. Just what went into it, to be honest. It looked pretty cool. For a low budget film, I thought it came out pretty cool. I like how they got the kid from the Bernie Mac show to be his buddy. I haven't seen that guy in anything in a while, so I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, the story is just basically, like the whole joke of the Angry Video Game Nerd. I mean, he makes fun of a lot of video games, but one of the main jokes is how shitty the game E.T. is for Atari. Now, me personally, I'm not gonna lie to you. I also agree this is a very shitty game as well. There was a point I was at the cottage bored, and I must have played this game for at least 2 hours. And it got to a point where I had no idea if I died or if I passed the game. I have no idea because, you know what? I'm not going to get into it. It was just a stupid game, whatever. But anyways, the movie's basically based on that, and they want to find out if, all these copies of E.T. actually exists in Mexico, because the whole joke is there. When Atari wasn't doing as well, and the big video game boom just basically fell apart, and I think it was like 1983. The whole rumor was they made this game E.T. and it was rushed, and that's why it was shit, and all these games got buried in Mexico. So the whole point of the movie is just to find out like if this is real. I love in the movie how they have something that looks like E.T. I'm sure it smells like E.T., but it doesn't it's never acknowledged that it is ET. But anyways, everything was great. I mean, honestly, I mean that's the concept of the whole angry video game nerd, is that he just creates like all these really cool ideas, from his childhood and from video games, and he just combines them all into one. And apparently he's been doing this since he was a kid. And when he was younger, his parents bought him a little camcorder, and he just basically fell in love with making movies. So that's pretty cool. I mean, from a young age, you get to have this technology, and then from there, you just build up your skills. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes along the way, of course, but from there, you just made a whole bunch of little movies. And it's just funny. Like it's just funny how it works. Like you make, I'm sure, a bunch of videos, and then you finally make the right video, and it just starts off as like a joke. It's almost like just you know what's bullshit. That's another that's another thing he does on his website. Like he'll just like take a subject or something, and he'll just describe why it's bullshit. Check that one out. I like that one. But anyways, yeah, you just do like the most random thing sometimes, or just like a random video, and it just gets passed on, to your buddies, and they're like, hey, you should do this, and then it just ends up being this huge thing, so that's pretty cool. And then eventually you do this for years and years and years, and you build a pretty good reputation for yourself, as a person who can just rate video games and just make a living out of it. The website Four Color Rebellion named Rolf as the Everyman's Video Game Reviewer in his role as the angry video game nerd. See, something simple like that is just, it's cool just to have that title, just like people recognize you. And like I said before, I could relate to him, and I could just relate to how he used to review these games. And he still does, but just the frustration you had when you were younger, just he was able to turn that into a career like years later. And you build up a good rep, and then eventually people start recognizing you. You start getting in this world where it's like, okay, now I'm this dude. I have all my other like reviews and my side projects that I do, but like worst case scenario, I always have this character to fall back on. And the most recent video he's done is, of course, his classic Christmas videos where he reviews some Christmas games. And he's up to episode 164, where he gets a little help from Kelvin McAllister, aka Macaulay Culkin. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I think this is pretty cool that he ended up getting him, because I remember you go just on his website here, cinemassacre.com, and you see a picture of him with Macaulay Culkin. So you're like, oh shit, like, another dude that, me and him grew up with, my generation or just basically any generation, loved Home Alone. It's one of those Christmas movies that you got to watch every year. So, Macaulay Culkin is like a staple in the Christmas atmosphere. So, it was really cool that he ended up getting him on there. And, they did a whole thing where he was the pizza delivery guy, and, you didn't recognize who he was at first. And then they're just reviewing every single Home Alone game, which I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't even know they made all these Home Alone games. I was just obsessed with the movie. So, I don't know. It always seemed like... they just bleed these franchises into Nintendo games, and oh my god, it just gets to be too fucking much. But worst case scenario, it's guys like James that'll make a video years later, and at least redeem these games into some kind of funny material for the internet, with the help of Macaulay Culkin. So props to him in that video. I think that's pretty cool. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what else he's going to do in the future. I mean, in my eyes, I feel that he should do an Angry Video Game Nerd episode every week. I mean, it was like that at one point, but I'm sure he's busy doing a lot of other things now. I mean, will he make another movie? Who knows? He's still doing these like movie reviews, like even reviews like old cartoon shows, like the old Ghostbusters, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like a whole bunch of shit. I mean, he's only 2 years older than me. He's 38 years old, and I'm sure he grew up with a lot of shit from the 80s, 90s. Just that whole world of, I mean, they'll make a cartoon out of anything or a video game out of anything, as long as it makes a profit. Sometimes it didn't make a profit, but who gives a shit? We'll just put it out there just for shits and gigs. I mean, worst case, 20 years from now, people are going to make funny videos about it, like he's doing. And, it's cool to see that. Like, it really is. So, I relate to him too, like I said before, but like, because, like we grew up in kind of like the same, age group, where, technology was there, but a lot of times it really wasn't there yet, for a lot of video games. I mean, a lot of video games kicked ass, like Super Mario or Legend of Zelda or Mega Man. And apparently they made a shitload of Home Alone games that nobody gives two fucks about, But at the same time, like I said, he makes a funny video out of it, and it becomes an internet classic. It's always funny what inspires us as kids. I mean, when he was younger, he said that Legend of Zelda and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were very inspiring to him because, they inspired him to create like adventure stories. On occasions, he would even draw pictures and, just create stories and, just do really simple stuff, things you would just normally do as a kid. It's funny, like a lot of people are always inspired by, what happens to us later on in life, but a lot of us like just don't forget that inner child in us, the little simple things that made us happy in life. He even said, like, once I was done doing my homework, I would just rent a game and play that, and I'd be happy. I can't believe that back then he could imagine that it would grow to be something this big, And a lot of people don't know who, the Angry Video Game Nerd is, but who knows? I mean, eventually, he might even have a bigger audience. The reason why I did this podcast about him is because, I was a Nintendo kid growing up, like I said before, and, I just think this is really cool what he does on here. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm not really that big of an internet guy. I go on certain websites, I love movies, I love TV shows, stuff like that, and old school video games. And, this was perfect. I came on here and did my research on this dude, and, sounds like a pretty good guy. Sounds like a guy who really respects the old school stuff, but at the same time doesn't respect a lot of the old video games that are shit. And he's not afraid to make videos about it and express his opinion, which is pretty cool. I also find it kind of funny that he married a woman named April, because if you watched, like I said before, the Ninja Turtle review he did, obviously everyone knows April O'Neil. So if that's not irony, I don't know what is. So I just think that's funny. I think that's pretty cool. So, and I heard he's got a couple kids as well, and I'm sure he's going to introduce those kids to these Nintendo games, and even the shitty ones, with a little help from Shit Pickle. That was a random reference to the website. Only people that follow the Angry Video Game Nerd will get that. So I just wanted to throw that in there. But anyways, he also said his favorite movie is A Mad, Mad, Mad World, which is a pretty crazy movie if you ever watch it. It's from 1963. It's about all these people that want to find this like hidden treasure. You know, I don't know. I mean, like, maybe in life we're all searching for that hidden treasure. I don't know. I'm not gonna go philosophical here or anything, but you know, I'm just gonna say this. It seems like he found his treasure in life. You know, with doing these reviews, and he seems like he's having a blast doing it. So I just want to say. James, thank you very much for all the entertaining videos on here. This is really cool. Like I said, I want you to do a video a week, man, because I mean, I just find it entertaining. I'm not saying I don't like the other shit you do, but this is your bread and butter. I just love to see a video once a week. So if I can just put in my 2 cents. But yeah, this is thank you very much, man, for the entertainment. I really think it's cool what you're doing, and you got a good team behind you there, and if anybody wants to check this out, it's the name of the website is cinemassacre.com, or you can see a lot of his videos on youtube.com. I can't believe I actually had to say .com with YouTube. Yeah, like nobody knows what the fuck YouTube is. But anyways, yeah, and it really just proves, I mean, that, once you have a passion for something, and, you could really just make it your own. And, he's made a living out of that. And that is really cool. He's the Angry Video Game Nerd Ass. AVGN.